Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I'm Chris. And one of these days, you should try to get a Purgle in that, the animation flying through hyperspace. Don't do that every time. But if you can just put
like an animation of one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had someone else do that animation bit for us at the beginning, and it paid like $20 for it.
Yeah.
It did in After Effects or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea how I do that.
Maybe you just go back to the same guy and say, "Hey."
He was from Reddit. He's probably dead now.
Because all Redditors die 5 years.
Well, I went on to the After Effects subreddit, and I was like, "This is what I want. I'll pay $20." And the first person that messaged me was like, "You, I choose you." I'd have to go through my messages and find him. Yeah. It was a couple years ago. So he'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?" Also, $20 is not enough, and I shouldn't have accepted that. We are your hosts, of course, of the Jedi Enclave Presents Now. This is Podcasting Podcast, a weekly live show / podcast about Star Wars and Star Wars adjacent science fiction / fantasy.
Such as
today,
Rebel Moon.
Today, we're going to talk about Rebel. Actually, okay, so a couple of things we're going to talk about today. One of them is Bad Batch, which was episode 14.
The penultimate episode of the entire series.
Some pretty cool stuff happening. There's one Star Wars news thing. An update on Acolyte.
Mm-hmm. There's some toys.
That could be really dirty.
Talk about toys.
Deadpool and speaking of which, this is where my brain. This is how my brain works. I hit the button to do the hyperspace thing, and I just happened to look over it and I noticed that this has a button on it.
Really?
That I've never seen before.
Oh, you've never pressed it?
Just excuse me for a moment. I have to figure out where it is now. I saw it.
Please hold. Oh, well, the back engine is a giant speaker, so it's probably related to whatever the button does.
Maybe it wasn't a button. There's an off button.
Maybe it doesn't have batteries.
Yeah, I think this is a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh.
That I got for Christmas or something. And I was like, I'll never use that because Bluetooth speakers, especially ones that look like that, suck.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I saying? Bad Batch, Deadpool and Wolverine trailer we're going to talk about. I'm so sorry, but you're correct. We have to do. We're going to talk briefly about Rebel Moon
because I spent 2 goddamn hours watching that movie, and we are going to talk about it, and then I'm going to completely remove every bit of it from my memory.
Yeah, just pluck it right out.
Yep.
If you're here for the weekly release of our podcast, which happens on Sundays. There will be time codes in the description. You can go skip around at your leisure. And a thank you to Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas, who apparently I learned that the Star Wars Hub used to be a page. You know how Facebook groups used to be that. They would be very. What's the word I'm looking for? Very specific, and I guess it used to be about wanting Battlefront 3.
Huh. Okay.
But before the EA DICE Battlefronts, after the 2005.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was an interesting thing because Connor really loves the old school Battlefronts.
Yeah. How does he feel about the remaster?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever talked to him about it. I've talked to him more about Kit Fisto and all of the sexual innuendo you can make.
R.I.P. Kit Fisto.
Yeah. If you're here in the future, please
talked about that, I think.
Yeah, but if you could click like and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm. Share. Join us on Discord, where right now there's a voice channel where you can go and listen to the audio only while we're doing it if you want. And then after this, we're not doing Battlefront 2 today.
We're doing something far more inane.
And completely different, which is we are starting our new series leading up to June for the release of House of the Dragon.
Season 2?
Yep, Season 2, yes. Where we are going to do a Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon recap series. And we're going to have some drinks made. The non-alcoholic.
Of course.
According to I don't want to get in trouble.
Allegedly. Yeah.
So it'll be Pepsi and a special Kraken flavored Kool-Aid that we're going to put into it. We're going to have some drinks, and I've got I was sitting here thinking okay.
You got diagrams and family trees and maps.
Well, I was like, okay, I found this really great high resolution map of the whole world. And I was like,
The world according to George R.R. Martin.
yes. And I was like, okay, how do I like, what software do I use? And I remember every week on Sundays at 7, we do Gungans and Dragons, which is our weekly Star Wars RPG, tabletop RPG, which you should watch this Sunday. And we use Roll20. And I was like, let's use Roll20.
Okay.
So I went and started a new thing, and it works beautifully for it.
Huh.
But so I've got Roll20, and I went through all of the major characters that are in my notes. I have 24 pages of notes for season 1.
For season 1?
And made NPC characters for all of them and gave them little tokens. And then I have my Wacom tablet and a whiteboard as well. Now, we're only doing season 1 because I have no idea how long it's going to take to get through it. I'm hoping that, so like if we're done in an hour, we'll be
24 pages of notes is going to take more than an hour.
Well, we'll see. Because there's some of it is like, I got to set up the world and stuff. And I'm hoping that not everyone will be that long, but I'm hoping that it doesn't take the full 2 hours, because I don't know how I'm going to get through 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, because we might have to put that on hold for a week to do House of the Dragon before it comes out.
Yeah.
So that'll be directly after this at 7. It will also be another upload to YouTube that you can check out. So if you're into Game of Thrones, or if you haven't seen it and you don't want to watch it all the way through and would just rather watch us drink it and talk about it, there you go.
Don't blame me, because that's what, 7 fucking seasons?
8 seasons.
8 seasons.
Yeah.
8 seasons of television.
Though Benioff and Weiss started to get real lazy toward the last couple of seasons, and like season 7 has fewer episodes.
Like, we just want to go do something else.
Yeah.
So let's just wrap this up.
And then season 8 has like 6 episodes. But to be fair, like they're all like feature film length or close to like an hour or longer. So we're going to be doing that. And as I said, Sunday at 7, Gungans and Dragons, our weekly tabletop RPG based in the Star Wars universe.
Where you got trapped in a Ricotta mind prison.
Yeah, me and Genko, who is to the chagrin of one of our party members, is
becoming a Jedi right before our eyes.
Despite not being Force sensitive, I think that might change. I could see Richard was like, I don't get this, and it's like, okay, it's okay. Like, no one on the Jedi Council, well, actually, everyone on the Jedi Council gets it, because my character is the kind of person where like that, like, being like, I take him as a Padawan. Like, they all know he's not Force sensitive.
They're all just rolling their eyes and saying, oh yeah, Kel, tell us another.
They're so used to my bullshit. They're like, yeah, okay.
Let's just see where he goes with this.
Welcome to the Jedi. Hopefully he doesn't get him killed.
Yeah.
So come join us for that. It's a blast. It's always a lot of fun. Before we start, a little bit of sad news. This happened a month ago, but wasn't reported until like this last week. But Warwick Davis's wife, Samantha Davis, died at the age of 53 last month on March 24th.
That's really young.
Yeah. And in her own right, I mean, she wasn't just Warwick Davis's wife. She was an actor and was in the Harry Potter series, and she met Warwick Davis on the set of Willow, which was his big solo film.
Yeah.
Which I, to this day, maybe it's because I remember seeing it as a kid and I liking it as a kid. It has like kind of a special spot in my heart, and I really love it. And it doesn't seem like there was any like cause of death listed, but Warwick Davis did mention that her health had been deteriorating for quite some time, and he made a post on social media that kind of worried everybody. It was like, all right, signing off with a heartbreak emoji, and then his kids were like,
we better go check on him.
Well, no, they just posted like, everything's fine. It's just.
Yeah,
he's stepping away from social media for a while, and because who the fuck wants to be on social media when something like that happens, you know? So my heart goes out to him. One of my fears in life, I'm afraid of wasps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of believing a thing that isn't true.
Okay,
I'm terrified of that, because believing something that's true and believing something that's false feels the same. When you're convinced of it, you can't tell the difference. It feels exactly the same. And one of my biggest fears is losing my partner. And so whenever I reach it like this, because you're right, 53 is a really young age, and it hits me in a special spot, because I can't imagine, because I have 2 kids, Like I can't imagine what that would be like. And so my thoughts are within this week, and I know what happened last month, but I'm hoping he's finding a way to to deal with that, and hopefully he's seeing a licensed therapist, because when something like that happens, you should not count on religion. You should not count on self-help books. You should go and find a licensed doctor who maybe a trauma specialist even, or someone who specializes in grief and loss and stuff like that to get better and to,
or at the very least find some friends and family and just fucking talk about how you're feeling.
Yeah, but also get a doctor.
Yes.
Like it's so important. Okay. Star Wars Acolyte update.
Oh yes.
Nothing huge.
Yeah.
But like this shit's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
This is like
it's a little over a month now.
Yeah, it's like the week before or right after House of the Dragon season 2. I don't know what we're gonna do.
The week before.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with all it, because there's gonna be so much shit. I don't even know.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. So in the trailer, there's a shot of a Jedi character called Vernestra Rowe, who is an important recurring character in the Star Wars: The High Republic series, and we talked about her a little bit. She's pretty neat. And the cool thing about her, first of all,
a bit of a prodigy. She has a light whip.
Yeah, she was knighted at age 14, which big deal.
Yeah. Like
the only thing you can find, like Mace Windu, is like put on the council, not too older than that, which is, but other than that, like that shit doesn't happen very often. She also lives quite a while, but one of the things about her character is she can make a light, like a whip out of her lightsaber. She can hit a button and she's like, look at this. So Leslie Headland was talking about because they've been doing press for this leading up to it, and was like, nah, she's gonna have her light whip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but she was also talking about the aesthetic and the look of the show, and was talking about like honoring existing Star Wars lore, and like how you can, like there's a special magic about watching Star Wars. It just feels like Star Wars, and they apparently went out of their way in terms of cinematography in moments to make it feel like the original trilogy, or to make it feel like the sequel or the prequel trilogy. And this also kind of like they were talking about a couple of weeks ago about how they wanted to do a lightsaber fight that would honor duel, like the Duel of the
thing
Fates
that made all the fanboys get their panties in a twist.
Yeah. So the more I read about this, the more I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
All right. Let's talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer real quick.
Okay.
We don't have to do shot for shot, but I didn't even know it was out. John texted me. He's like, "Have you seen the thing?" And to be honest, I didn't need to see any more trailers.
Yeah.
Right. And can't remember when this thing comes out.
It's this summer, I think.
It'll probably be on our summer cinema list.
Yeah.
But the one full length trailer that we got, I wish they'd stop doing trailers, because like that's all I needed to see. Yeah. Like they got my money. I'll go and see it.
It just looks funny. It looks bloody.
Yeah.
It looks action filled.
It looks like it's following around a very beleaguered and beaten down Wolverine.
Yes. We know the TVA is involved.
Yeah.
So this is like probably not the Wolverine we know from the existing X-Men movies. This is a variant.
Yeah.
Or another timeline, or whatever you want to call it nowadays.
There's a giant, either Scott Lang or maybe Hank Pym skull.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Which I thought was pretty interesting.
You're talking about in the place with the 20th Century Fox sign buried in the sand.
There's a dead Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's probably Scott Lang. And he's big. It's really big. He's really big. And like his helmet comes up and you see his skull, and like someone walks out of his mouth and shit, which is apparently, who is that? Professor X's like evil twin.
Cassandra Nova.
Right. So she's in it and shit. And there's a shot of her like throwing Wolverine around. And
I'm terrible at recognizing people, because I thought that was Tilda Swinton. I was like, oh, the ancient one is in here. Nope.
Not all bald white women look the same.
I know.
There's Deadpool gets stabbed in the crotch.
But he gets better, because that's his thing.
Yeah, so he doesn't care about shit like that. Wolverine has one of his classic fuck off quotes, because this is rated R, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
The one thing that really really makes me laugh is that in the previous trailer he has a hairpiece, and in this trailer there's a shot, like a close-up shot of him without the hairpiece, but you can still see the staples in his head. So apparently he put the hairpiece on and just stapled it down.
I mean, why not?
It's the most Deadpool thing in the world, right? There's a shot of Goliath from Loki.
Okay.
The big purple eating, like, monster thing from the from the
yeah.
And there are a bunch of like little Easter eggy things, because they apparently go to that world where everything goes when it gets pruned or something like it.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of shit there, and
there's a reference to Rob Liefeld, the famously awful comics artist.
Yeah, the guy that can't draw feet,
can't draw proportions of anything.
Yeah, whenever I hear his name, the thing that always sticks out to me is that awful Captain America drawing.
Yeah,
with his huge barrel chest.
Is enormous.
Yeah. Just the most. It's like, what? How did you draw that? Like, that looks like a human being. I just don't get it.
How did he get so influential on comics art for like decades?
Yeah, his other defining characteristic is that you can't do feet either.
He draws pouches.
Yeah.
So many pouches.
Yeah. It's like every hero has a billion pouches, and I can't imagine any of them have anything in it.
What's in those?
Because they all end up punching anyway. Like, they don't use shit from their belts. It's like a Batman thing.
Yeah. Anyway, movie looks funny.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see it and we'll review it and everything.
All right, what else we got?
Hot Toys.
Hot Toys,
the company that makes Hot Toys, announced that they are doing new these are like the
these
fucking
are the
expensive ones.
Like A+ top of the line.
Yeah. These are not the ones you buy for your kids.
No, absolutely.
As a 35-year-old, you buy them for your shelves. They introduced a new line of toys that they're going to do. BT-1, which is one of two of the assassin droids from the Dr. Aphra series.
Yep.
Star Killer from fucking Force Awakens, Force Unleashed. Darth Revan.
Yep.
From KOTOR 2.
Using the Knights of the Old Republic appearance of him.
Right. 000, who is the other murderous protocol droid.
The Old Republic, the MMO appearance, I mean.
Well, and not the KOTOR appearance.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe that'll be what he looks like in the remake. I don't know if that ever happens.
Well, apparently it is.
Supposedly.
They're doing a regular Stormtrooper with a Death Star environment, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're doing a Chrome edition of Commander Cody, which I think will just end up looking like Phasma, probably.
Probably, yeah. Well, with a slightly different helmet, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a new Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars with an LED lightsaber.
Yeah, his face looks...
Let me see.
Something about his face just doesn't strike me as being classic Anakin.
Well, he looks like the de-aged Anakin and Ahsoka.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
But that's how he looks in Ahsoka, though.
Yeah, like, I guess...
Which is just kind of weird. Like, it's like, it's almost...
They had a choice. They could have gone screen accurate to Ahsoka, or they could have, like, tried to recreate Hayden Christensen as he would have looked if he was actually Anakin at that time.
Yeah. And I think that's the last one, yeah?
Yep, that's all of them.
Yeah. So,
So, of course, these are all going to cost hundreds of dollars and sell out in 3 seconds.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
But, if you're into ridiculously detailed and extremely expensive toys, go get them.
Yeah, but my friend Ben collects these. I don't know how he gets the money for it because he teaches PE, but has him displayed really nicely.
Yeah, he's the Brit one. Like,
yeah.
Maybe they actually pay their teachers.
Yeah, they give them a living wage.
Yeah. What a concept.
It's because their food sucks so hard. They don't spend their money on food over there.
Yeah.
Like, he probably just eats baked beans.
Probably, yeah.
From a can. Okay. Speaking of shitty things like baked beans from a can, let's do this.
Okay.
We'll get it over with, and we'll never talk about it again.
I can sum up my immediate reactions in like 3 lines.
Hold on a second.
Okay. I'll hold on to them.
So we're talking Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, which released, I didn't realize, like 2 weeks ago or something. And then I was like, oh, well, we did the first one. We should probably do the second one.
Yeah.
We are probably going to... Look, I would give a spoiler warning if anything happened.
Yeah, like... or if anybody cared about this.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like everyone who cared about it, i.e. the diehard Snyder Bros, have already seen
like
it.
Day one, yeah.
And nobody
Which, by
else
the way,
cares.
Yeah, if you're really into Rebel Moon and you're like looking forward to the next one, fine. Like you enjoy a thing, I'm happy for you. That being said, we might spoil something. So if you're here and you're like, oh, I haven't seen that yet, I'll go watch it later.
If you really care about it, go away. Come back in like 5 minutes. We'll be done.
You've been warned. Okay, now.
Okay, number 1, this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
Number 2, do not pay to watch this. Number 3, Zack Snyder is a hack. And I know this is the part where you interrupt and you say Zack Snyder actually made that one movie that you really like. I've never seen that movie.
That doesn't mean
I can't judge him based on that. I can only judge based on what I've seen, and everything I've seen suggests that Zack Snyder is not very good at his job.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily disagree with you. Because like the stuff that I've seen that I've liked. Mm-hmm. So 300 is like iconic.
Yeah.
Mostly because it makes men feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of all the abs. They just don't realize
and the memes.
Yeah. It's very testosterone filled and
very
shit.
much so.
And there's the zombie movie he made during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't know why all of his films look like this. But it's like he took a giant jar of Vaseline and poured it on his camera lens, smeared it around a little bit, and was like, action.
And then in editing, he like grabs 40% of the movie, puts it in slow-mo, and says, that's it.
Yeah.
Cinematography.
It's the thing is that like, if we were to go and if we went to Rebel Moon and if we took all of the slow motion parts and rendered them back to real time, the movie would be like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I don't like, so slow motion in filmmaking works very well when it's used. It's like the Dutch angle or like the
moderation.
Like the dolly zoom
you
or
use
something.
It as a very particular effect.
Yeah.
It's something you keep in your golf bag. It's like the pitching wedge or whatever. You only pull it out for very specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Where most of the time you just want the driver.
Right. It just, I don't understand how he watched the screening of this movie when it was finished and was like, oh, people are going to love this.
Perfect. My vision.
And I'm not trying necessarily to shit on Zack Snyder as a person, right? Because he seems like he's a fine person. And
sure,
everything.
Yeah.
And I get he's doing presumably what he loves and maybe,
more power to may we all find a job that pays us well enough to support ourselves and our families that we don't hate.
That being said, I just don't think he's a very good filmmaker, and I'm sorry to say it. And it like because he's been through a lot of personal stuff, and I would hate to shit on a guy that's been through so much.
You're not talking about his personal life. You're talking about his professional output.
Yeah,
and judging based on that, he's not very good.
Yeah. So this movie it's a continuation of the first film, which is just the most generic milquetoast bullshit in the world. And the reason that I ended up getting so pissed off about it is because it seemed like they really leaned in to the part of the marketing where it's like, oh, this is the Star Wars movie that Disney didn't want. Because everyone's like, all the, oh, fuck Disney, fuck Kathleen Kennedy. We're like, oh, he's going to save Star Wars. And it's like, your problem here.
Motherfucker, there's a reason Disney didn't want this shit.
Like, when you lean into that, and you set yourself up as the spiritual successor of Star Wars, you're going to be compared to Star Wars. Yes. And let me tell you, Rebel Moon isn't even fucking close. No. It's embarrassingly not close.
Yeah.
And we kind of laid out our problems with the first film. The thing that is crazy to me is that I thought that maybe they would attempt some kind of course correction for the second movie. I
don't think they could have. Like they had.
I guess
they had a bunch of things working against them. Like they shot the two parts at the same time.
Yeah.
Second, Zack Snyder has so many fanboys, so many loud vocal fanboys out there to suck his dick. Like unless he deliberately seeks out criticism and opposing voices and someone saying, Zach, maybe you shouldn't do it that way.
Yeah.
Unless he's deliberately seeking that out, he's not going to find it.
Yeah.
So like all they could have done to fix this is edit it based on reception of the first one. And I don't know that they had any desire to do that.
Yeah. Like there is an arrogance about it. that it belongs in the long human history of great science fiction films and stories, and it doesn't. And like I will tell you that I would love for it to be terrible. That's its worst sin, is that it's just forgettable and boring. If it were terrible, like if the if the fundamentals were bad, then we could laugh at it and have fun with it.
It's competently made.
Yeah. But you know what?
It's just not very good.
I was more entertained watching Fast and the Furious. I was more entertained watching The Expendables, which are
dumb movies.
And this is the thing, is that they understand what they are, right? Zack Snyder does not understand what this is, which is almost a parody of science fiction stories. And if that's what it is meant to be, and it's all satire, then by all means, fucking dude, hats off to you. But it's not that. It's very clear that it's not that, because when you watch him talk about it, he thinks he's got something really amazing. So
I want to talk about two scenes. Like one sequence, like the only part of the movie I actually liked.
Was it the droid part?
No.
Which, by the way, this droid is like just off being a reindeer somewhere now.
Yeah, that part was almost okay.
He put like elk horns on, and he's like, "I'm a deer," and he just like he fucks off for most of the movie.
Anthony Botkins.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that sequence, the reason I thought it was so cool, I think, is because in my mind, I was just imagining 900-year-old Anthony Hopkins doing all the moves.
Yeah.
Because it was like, that would be really cool. That would have been fucking amazing.
So one sequence I liked, one sequence I thought was the worst in the entire movie.
Okay.
So the sequence I liked was the harvest sequence into the training montage.
Oof. I think you're going to be minority opinion here. I have seen so much shit out of like the 20 people that have seen this movie. I don't understand why Zack Snyder is like, you know what the science fiction fantasy group wants to see? They want to see grain porn.
Yes, it is that. It goes on really long. It's incredibly stupid that the spacefaring civilization is relying on hand tools to bring in their harvest rather than, tractors or whatever.
But also it's like, they're going to show every step of the motherfucking grain processing process.
The thing is, like, for whatever reason, Zack Snyder's cinematography works for me on that.
Okay.
Because like he's showing you
slow motion grain, man. That shit does it. Yeah.
And like there's a couple
I hate it,
character interactions where they go back and forth and all that.
Chris, I don't know if I can give you one character's name.
Okay.
Titus.
Yeah.
Because
he's the name they say the most.
Also, that actor, this movie does not deserve that actor. Yes.
He's dead now.
Yeah.
Like this is the role that killed him.
It's not. That was a joke. It's not. However, he is one of the best actors ever. Like that dude is so good.
Really good.
And this movie did not deserve him, right? And I think like the parts that I really liked were because of him. Yeah. Because he's actually doesn't matter that everything sucks. You can't take your eyes off of him because he's so intense and like
he sells the hell out of his role.
Is Gunner one of their names?
Yes. He's the other dude from the village who goes with Korra and they
the guy that's played by Dario Naharis from Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
I can't tell you what the main character's name is. I don't know what it is. And I've seen 2 films. The Scargiver, I think. She's the one that gave the scar.
Yeah.
That's not her name though, right?
No, her name is Korra. Or Enthesileia or something like that. Anyway, the point is, this movie is shit. I want to tell you about
Nemesis is a character.
Yes, Nemesis. Speaking of, I want to tell you about the worst scene in the entire movie.
Okay.
So the bad guys bust in the longhouse where all the women and children are hiding. Nemesis lights up her swords and then proceeds to have the worst choreographed sword fight I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I don't think any of the choreography really stands up that well.
No.
And look, I know that like you can make a compare like MCU choreography is cut to shit and like it jolts all over the fucking place and you can't tell where you are in the space.
But like what makes this so egregious is that Nemesis is built up as being this incredibly badass warrior who's spent years going through the Empire, killing people on this revenge tour. And then you actually see her fight and it's the most underwhelming shit.
Yeah.
But that's not even the worst part.
You know what you like about her?
What's that?
I like her little hat.
Oh yeah, her hat's
She has
great.
her little hat. Yeah. It was like,
The worst part
cool.
is at the end of this fight, she gets stabbed and is kneeling there dying. And this little kid who she's had like 3 interactions with, they've never said a single word to each other, runs up and like starts crying. And she's like, it's okay. And then she keels over dead.
Thump.
Like, a more competent filmmaker could have developed that relationship a little bit better so that like it's more clear that, oh, she sees this as her surrogate child and the child is seeing her as a surrogate mother.
Instead of doing
it could have meant something.
Yeah. Instead of doing the entire grain thing in slow motion, they could have just done like a third of it in slow motion and used that time to develop a relationship with them. Yeah.
It just felt so lazy and unearned that I just broke out laughing when she died.
I think the one that
sucks because like she's my second favorite character after Titus.
I think the part that really got me was we're gonna sit at the table and go around and exposit via flashback.
Why does Zack Snyder love flashbacks so much?
I don't. To be fair, it's a fairly common thing in storytelling, but for it to be so clumsily exposited like this. And what's interesting is that they all have the same story.
Yeah, fuck the Empire, let's go kill some shit.
Yeah, and
I'm a loose cannon, a rebel without a cause.
We talked about the last film about how like Zack Snyder set out to make a chili.
Yeah, and he just threw everything together, didn't think about how they would mix, and just wound up with shit.
And he did the same thing with this, and it's just like, he's like, you know what are cool? Lightsabers. We'll put lightsabers in.
Gotta have lightsabers.
You know what else is cool that I personally like? Griffins.
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Why the fuck would there be... Doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter. Put the fucking griffins in there.
You know what else would be really cool? Grain. I don't know why, but I fucking love grain.
Yeah, grain.
Flour, bread is great. Yep. Fucking put it in there. And just like... you know what I really like? Those spaceship things from Superman, The Man of Steel, another movie that I did. Let's put those in there too.
Yeah,
sure. I also do not understand how this giant ship that can presumably travel faster than the speed of light is powered in the same way that the Titanic is. Where they have
so many things about that ship make zero sense.
Which it's like
you have people shoveling coal into the furnace it's to power this thing.
It's not even like space coal.
It's just straight up coal.
It's just coal.
Like the grain they're harvesting isn't even space grain. It's just wheat.
Grain, yeah. It's just wow.
When they go to shoot the giant fucking cannon at the village, he's manually turning cranks.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to use this thing to shoot other spaceships?
Yeah. That's and look, if we get some of the details wrong and you're like, oh, did you even watch the movie? And it's like, no, we watched it.
We watched it.
I just couldn't
I wish
awake.
I didn't, but I watched it.
I had trouble. It's just like, this is so fucking boring. Because if it were like really bad, I could have gotten the popcorn out and just laughed at it.
Yeah.
But it's not even that. It's just so unremarkable and derivative. I think that's one of the other huge crimes that this film commits for me, is that it sets out to do nothing original or for Zack Snyder to put his spin on anything. It's just every science fiction fantasy trope we've ever seen copied verbatim and with different characters. And it's so boring. And
there's one last scene that I have to ask you about.
Yeah.
It's during the ripoff of Julius Caesar when, the bad guy has his et tu brute moment where he stabs the king and Cora shoots the daughter.
That guy's delivery is really weird, by the way.
Yes.
The guy that's like, kill him or whatever.
The whole thing, the whole thing is extremely weird. Yeah. I have to ask you, if you were in that string quartet that was in that room while all that was happening, would you keep playing?
No.
Because I would not.
Because even if I had a thing over my head, like they had, because they all had like bags over their heads, which, by the way, I'd be like, I'm not memorizing this.
I can't fucking see anything. How do you want me to play?
Yeah, I will. It does seem like
as soon as I started hearing the knives come out, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna
put the cello down.
Up. I'll see you guys later.
It's like my union does not approve of this.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
Yeah. They did seem to be playing the right thing though.
Yes, mostly.
Yeah. Which if you're not a musician or like a seriously trained musician, a lot of the times people kind of miss stuff like that.
They just kind of fake it.
I know that like string players, as they go closer to them, like the pitch goes, and I can tell when they're doing vibrato and
credit where credit's due. That scene had some of the only good music in the entire movie. It suited the scene well. It was,
I didn't get this though.
Vaguely characteristic, and
like she came in and they killed the emperor.
Yes.
And then she like capped a kid.
Yes.
And then he's like, "Oh, she did it," and she's like, "You motherfucker!" And it's like, but you did.
Yeah.
Like, why are you pretending like he just betrayed you?
See, she killed the princess, but she was getting framed for killing the entire family.
Right. Which, at that point...
I mean, the idea was
I guess the princess isn't really dead or something.
Yeah. That's the worst part of this. They set up for a part 3, and I can't imagine Zack Snyder ever gets funding to make it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because holy shit, this is so bad.
There's a Facebook group called Mace Windu is Alive that commented... saying greetings. I did see that there's the same story that makes the rounds every few weeks where it's like Sam Jackson says Mace Windu's alive.
No, Sam Jackson says he wants another paycheck from Disney.
Yeah. Sam Jackson doesn't get to pick what happens to Mace Windu. That's not his job. Jimmy says, geez, it's a bit bloody early for the Enclave Down Under. How the blazes are you both? It's not early. We're this. I mean, we're on... It's
the same time we always are.
On Wednesday for the live show anyway. Yeah. And then shit. Janis Joplin, the Muppet, says hi.
Hi. Hello there.
Janis Joplin, the Muppet.
That's a good name.
That is pretty neat. Yeah. All right. So shall we go on to a much better vehicle for storytelling, which is a child's animated series?
Sure. Let's see it.
Okay. I will also say, just before we move on from this, if I missed some of the details in Rebel Moon, it's because I was also preparing for our Game of Thrones recap while it was happening. And for like a third of that movie, I was just hearing it and writing notes down and stuff for a Game of Thrones, which I consider to be a infinitely
vastly superior.
Yeah. Fucking Zack Snyder. God. You know what? I'm not even pissed at Zack Snyder. You know who I'm always pissed at?
Who's that?
The Release the Snyder Cut guys. Which, by the way,
release the Snyder Cut of Rebel Moon.
Apparently, there is an R-rated like director's cut or something.
I can't imagine that makes anything better.
Are you just gonna put it in like 4x3 and then?
No. What's going to happen is that when they have that big battle scene and shirtless dude swings his axes at people, there will actually be blood.
Yeah, his abs look fucking good though.
Granted,
I'm like it,
but like. That entire sequence was so stupid because there's no blood.
Yeah.
Like when he swings his axes at people, like he kind of hits them with the side of it. Like his axes never get stuck in people like an actual axe would.
He bruises them to death.
Yeah,
they fall over with bruises. Yeah. Like, ow.
I don't know what they were thinking.
He kills everyone via broken rib.
Anyway.
Internal organ damage.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Bad Batch.
Oh, fucking Zack Snyder, dude. Okay. We also ended daylight savings, and you may have started it.
Oh yeah, because it's going into winter
today, or the.
I mean, at some point.
I thought we already set our clocks back.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Australia is weird.
It is. That's true. All right. Let's talk about. So we're going to talk about not Game of Thrones.
Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch, season 3, episode 14, which is the penultimate episode of the entire series. So next week will be the series finale. This came out today.
Yes.
So if you're watching and you've not seen it yet and you don't want it spoiled,
it's cool. We're not judging you.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Go watch it because it's a pretty good episode.
It's pretty important.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then next week, and then the week after that will be Tales of the Empire.
Oh shit!
Because that comes out on May 4th.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, are we going to go see episode 1?
I wasn't planning on it
because it's got the Acolyte footage in it, like a special look at the Acolyte. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it. Okay, so you've been warned. Spoilers.
Go away.
Episode 14 is called Flash Strike. So previously, the Bad Batch had attached a stolen shuttle to this science vessel that's going to Tantus, and they're flying through hyperspace. So Bad Batch and Rampart are preparing to get down on the surface and do their thing. Rampart's like, well, the base is going to detect us as soon as we detach, and they're going to fucking shoot us. And Hunter's like, fine, we'll just land in the jungle. We'll go in on foot.
Rampart's like, that doesn't fix the problem I just laid out.
Crosshair's like, well, the jungle is really fucking dangerous. Rampart's like, yes, listen to this guy.
Yeah.
He you actually like him, kind of.
God, I hate his stupid beard so much.
Wrecker's like, well, how's Echo gonna get it there? Hunter's like, just trust him. He's a professional, not like you, Wrecker. You fucking 9-year-old.
Yeah, you giant prepubescent Hulk of a man.
So an alarm goes off, and they're like, all right, we got to get ready. Let's go. So Echo had previously stunned a stormtrooper who came down to look for him, and he, takes the body and sneaks it into a closet, and then goes back to the computer and sticks his robo-dick arm in and does things. And the protocol droid comes down, so he has to kind of sneak around and avoid that. At the base, Hemlock is like, okay, so where's my science vessel? And his clone commander says, they're on their way, but we might have a problem. Turns out the Bad Batch infiltrated the station with Vice Admiral Rampart, and there might be a security breach going on. So they're like, okay, that means the Bad Batch is following the science vessel. Just fucking send out the fighters, shoot them down.
Lock everything down.
Yes. So the science vessel comes out of hyperspace.
I would have been like, someone needs to go personally stand next to Echo or next to Omega until we kill everyone.
That would be smart.
Yeah.
But
first thing, I would have gone myself with a fucking pistol. It's been like,
you ain't going nowhere, kid. So science vessel comes out of hyperspace, and Hunter detaches the shuttle as they enter the atmosphere, and there's fighters coming in. Crosshair's like, we've been made, and we have a big dogfight. Hemlock orders the base to lock the base down and set their defense guns out and start shooting, and the shuttle gets hit, and Hunter's like, okay, things have not gone as planned, but we can still make this work.
Yeah, I didn't in the plan include
getting shot
down.
Yeah.
But we'll improvise. It's fine.
So down in baby jail, the kids can hear the explosions overhead.
Which is a thing the Empire has.
Yes.
A baby jail.
An actual baby jail. Red Kid is like, okay, what the fuck's going on? And Omega's like, that's laser cannons. One of the doctors tells Emery, there's a security alert. We gotta do our shit. She's like, all right, I'll handle it. Lady scientist number 2, you'd watch the kids, and lady scientist rolls her eye and says, yeah, I'll keep a close eye on the specimens.
Chris, this woman is how I feel about children. And we'll know here in a second when we talk about her getting the samples. But
yeah. So down,
I get it. I'm just saying. Yeah. I understand her.
Yeah. So down in baby jail, Blue Kid is like, what's going on? And Omega's like, well, obviously my brothers have found me.
Which was kind of a neat line.
Yeah.
She's like, my fucking brothers are here. Yeah. It's like, all right, that hit something a little bit.
So shuttle gets hit again, and they do this like sweet stall turn thing and shoot down one of the fighters.
God, the animation in this season.
It's really good.
Star Wars animation is it's come like a long way. It's really neat.
This is an animation team at the height of their powers. Yeah. So Hunter tells Wrecker, hey, get the grapple cables ready. And Rampart's like, okay, what's going on? What are you doing? And Wrecker's like, you don't want to know.
So the less I tell you, the less you piss your pants.
So they set up Rampart on a cable, and he's like, okay, what am I doing here? And Hunter's like, don't hit anything on your way down. Rampart's like, what?
By the way, this sequence, oh my God.
So Wrecker and Crosshair dive out of the shuttle, and then Rampart and Hunter go out, and Rampart's cable jams. Yeah. So Hunter just fucking shoots the cable, catches Rampart on his way down.
For just a second, I thought that Hunter was just over it, was going to cut his losses and shoot the wench thing and just let him fall.
Yeah. That would have been great.
I was really hoping.
Not that kind of show hog.
Yeah.
So the shuttle gets shot down. Hemlock's like, okay, great. Send out the troopers, search the wreck. Also, the science vessel is going to be locked down entirely until we have scanned every single member of the crew to determine that they're who they're supposed to be. So on the science vessel, Echo just kind of looks at this unconscious stormtrooper, and you can see the gears turning inside his head. Science vessel lands, and Echo comes out of the closet wearing the stormtrooper armor, minus, the glove that goes over his robo-dick arm.
Yeah.
So science vessel commander comes out with his stuff and his people, and he's like, hey, fuck you guys doing out here? Let's get this shit off the ship. And clone commando's there is like, actually, we need to search you and do a full cavity search of everyone on board.
Please bend over.
Commander's like, dude, we already did that before we left the station. Commando's like, it's fucking orders. You can fucking go tell Hemlock about it. Finally, Commander's like, fine, just.
Yeah, he imagines Hemlock and he's like, nah, fuck that. I hate that guy.
Yeah. So Stormtrooper starts searching the science vessel. So down in the jungle, Wrecker and Crosshair are walking around. They can't find Hunter. Crosshair's like, it's fine. Let's just go towards the base. Hunter will catch up. Also, this jungle is really fucked up. It's not a place you forget. Wrecker's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Breaking out has got to be harder than breaking in, right? Right?
You would think.
Crosshair's like, I really don't want to do either.
Yeah.
But Omega broke me out, and I kind of owe her for that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
I know. So I saw a bingo card for the end of this show, and one of them was Crosshair turncoating on the Bad Batch for like being a double, like a triple agent.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it.
Don't think that's happening.
I don't buy it. Yeah.
So there's a rustling sound, and Hunter steps out from behind a rock, and Crosshair's like, "Oh, hey, it's you. Did Rampart make it?" And Hunter's like, "Unfortunately, yes." Rampart's like, "Hey, I could hear that, you jackass."
Also, it's like, Hunter, you could have killed him and no one would have known. You could have just shot
no
that
one would have complained
and not caught him and been like, "Oh no, he fell."
Anyway, Rampart's like, "I heard that, you jackasses. And by the way, maybe if you weren't defective, you would be smart enough not to come here in the first place." Hunter's like, "Fuck you," and also get undercover because there's Imperials flying over. The Imperials don't
also,
find anyone.
No one likes your beard.
Nobody likes you, period.
Yeah.
Honestly. So the Imperials search the wreckage, but they can't find anybody, so they're ordered to keep sweeping the jungle. So back on the Science vessel, Echo unplugs from the computer and is walking away when a protocol droid is like, "Hey, you can't be down here. This is my place." Echo's like, "I was just checking the manifest. You know, it's fine." Also, kablamo.
Yeah.
So Echo looks down at this droid and says, "Hey, you got a pretty sweet hand there."
That is apparently like universally fitted.
Yeah.
So that he can
He just takes the hand off, attaches it to his robo-dick arm, and there you go.
Which, by the way, I like the couple of times he's had to jack into the computer thing and he like tries to pull it out. And he's like, "Not enough loop." And like you can't like get it out on the first try.
So Echo now has a complete disguise. He keeps walking through the ship and sneaks out the droid access, and he sees a scientist scan some troopers. Like, probably can't go over there. So he finds a group walking around the cargo bay and just runs back to join them.
Does his reg routine.
So down in baby jail, Red Kid asks why their blood hasn't been taken yet. And by the way, where is everyone? Like, this is really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Green Kid's like, "I don't fucking know." Omega's like, "Okay, one of us has to go figure out what's actually going on here. And by one of us, I mean me. So I need
because you guys are helpless children."
Yes. If anyone shows up, I need you to cover for me. And the kids are like, "What the fuck does that mean? We're like 3."
Like the baby shits its pants.
Yeah.
And Omega's like,
Omega's like, "Okay, let me clarify. If anyone comes in, just stall them. Just ask stupid questions, waste their time. Just don't let them know that I'm not here."
Omega's like, hopefully, if we're lucky, they won't send in a very impatient with children person.
Yes. So she goes back to her cell and pops open the wall and goes crawling through the maintenance tunnels. So in the jungle, the Imperials are searching on the ground and in the air. The Bad Batch is walking, and Crosshair kind of shoves Rampart and tells him, "Look, you fall behind, you get left behind. So fucking, you won't live long out here in this jungle." Rampart's like, "Man, you fucking used to think good soldiers follow orders." And Crosshair's like, "It depends who gives them, fuckface.
Mm-hmm.
The Empire betrayed both of us, so fuck them." Rampart's like, "You fucking idiot. You think you can fight them? Like, you're just like me. You're loyal to nobody but yourself." Crosshair's like, "You're the fucking idiot because I have changed." Rampart's like, "Yeah, sure."
I think it's interesting that Rampart, I think, is so sure about this.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that people never change because that's how he is.
Yeah.
That he doesn't. And maybe him saying that is trying to prime us up for Crosshair eventually doing something like bad or whatever.
Maybe.
But I think it's just the arrogance of that character where it's like, well,
definitely,
I can't change, so I know for a fact that Crosshair can't change.
So in the base, Echo is having some issues with his droid hand, so he detaches it to hack into a computer and check a map, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get on this elevator." So Omega's still crawling around, and the Bad Batch is sneaking through the jungle, and they arrive at this cliff. And Wrecker's like, "Well, are we going to go around?" Crosshair's like, "Nah, it'll take too long, especially with this fucking guy slowing us down." So Rampart just sits down to rest for a minute and leans back against this rock. And then the rock growls at him.
Yeah, which everyone's like, "God damn it, Rampart." It's always you. It's always you fucking everything up.
So Rampart's like, just fucking shoot the giant jungle monster. Hunter's like, no, that'll make way too much noise. So Rampart just...
Also, it might eat you. And really, who wins?
Would anything of value be lost?
Yeah.
So Rampart just fucking sprints off into the jungle, and the Bad Batch starts backing up, and then they start fighting it hand to hand. The monster fucking smacks Wrecker into a tree, and they have to kind of...
I like how Wrecker is like, okay, hold on. I beat up a baby Rancor once. I can deal with this. And he jumps on its back, and it's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
And like throws him.
So they start running. Rampart runs past a patrol, making so much noise, they're like, hey, there's something over there. We better check
his
that
arms
out.
are flailing. Yeah. He just like,
So the patrol like spots the Bad Batch running past, and then the monster starts attacking them. So they're fine.
This works out because they didn't fire their guns. They got the monster to attack the stormtroopers. So they're like,
cool. Everything went better than we expected.
All right, well, let's keep walking, I guess.
So Bad Batch is like, okay. Also, where the fuck did Rampart go? And Rampart is still running until he trips over a fucking tree root, and then another patrol finds him, and he's like, hey, good to see you.
Where's Rampart? Who the fuck cares, honestly?
So in baby jail, the kids are wondering where Omega is, and blood drawing droid comes in with the female doctor and says, go to your cells. It's blood sample time. So kids go to their rooms. Blue kid gets her blood drawn and says, hey, doc, I'm really hungry. Doctor says, fuck off. I'm busy.
I'm telling you, man, there's something about how she responds to every kid where they say something and she's like, fuck. Or like, I totally get it. Like, because that's let's be honest. That is how I respond to most children. Yeah. So like, I was watching this whole thing like,
okay,
I got you. I understand this.
So Omega's still creeping around, and she finds a lab where some Imperials are shooting a Zillo beast with a giant laser.
Yeah, which by the way, I am gonna do a
kind of a big deal.
Also, a quick victory dance because I called this when the second that Rampart and Palpatine were talking, and he said something blah 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 blah, large asset containment blah blah blah, and I was like, Zillo beast.
Okay,
and we have proof. It's on fucking tape.
Yeah.
So just saying, I was right.
Anyway. Red kid gets her blood drawn and is like, hey, doc, I don't feel so good. I think I've got a fever or something.
She's like, fuck.
Droid, fucking do a diagnostic on her. So Omega's still creeping around, and Red kid gets scanned, and it turns out she's fine.
Yeah.
Doctor's like, droid, just fucking watch her more closely. Let's go do our shit.
Euthanize this subject.
So green kid steps out of his cell and is like, hey, can I go next? Dr. Lady's like, fuck, wait your fucking turn,
like,
kid.
Every time she tries to do something, a kid's like, I'm a kid. She's like, oh my fucking God.
I hate my job. So
this is why she stays up in the observatory. Yeah.
So walk into Omega's cell and surprise, it's Omega. Yeah. And she gets her blood drawn.
Sitting there looking very defiant, by the way. Like, you're going to die today, bitch.
So Echo walks into Emery's lab and starts poking around, but the computers don't really like him until he sticks his robo-dick arm in and
that's the only language he knows. Yeah.
And finds Omega's file. Just then, Emery walks in and says, hey, stormtroopers aren't allowed in here. Echo is like, well, it's a special security patrol because of the lockdown, but there's no intruders here, so I'll just be on my way. Emery's like, hey, wait a minute. You're Echo. Omega talked about you. Echo's like, oh, yeah. She told us about you, too.
I like how Echo, just for a second, like thinks about maybe trying to keep up the ruse and is like, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, I'm Echo. Caught me.
Emery's like, she said you would come for her. Echo's like, actually, we're here for all the prisoners that you've been torturing and experimenting on.
Yep.
Emery's like, whoa, hey, dude, that wasn't my idea. I just work here.
The worst excuse ever.
Echo's like, yeah, that's what all war criminals say. Like, you're a clone. Why are you doing any of this? Like, you're lucky Omega likes you. Now, where the fuck is she?
They gave me these sweet-ass goggles. That's why I'm doing it.
Emery's like, she's in baby jail, but you need my help to get down there.
And Echo's like, baby jail?
It's kind of fucked up you have a baby jail, but okay, let's get going.
She's like, we have a literal infant down there. He's like, that is worse. That makes it worse.
So down in baby jail, the ruse was a complete success. The doctor and the droid don't suspect anything. They leave. So the kids ask Omega what took her so long. And Omega's like, oh, so don't worry about it. I have a plan now, and I need your help, but we're going to get the fuck out of here. And that's the end of the episode.
I feel like Omega's character has matured quite a bit, and I appreciate that she seems to have found some agency that she didn't have before. And I think it's probably because she's getting a little older. They kind of designated her as like the group strategist earlier on, and I think she's probably growing into that more as well. Like whatever talent that is that she has, that
strategist and also very good at gambling.
Yeah, gambler. Yeah, problem gambler.
Yeah, it's only a problem if you lose.
Yeah, sure. And the look that she gives that scientist when she comes in really is this is the day you're gonna die. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
And I particularly like the Zilla Beast thing because that's a Clone Wars season fucking 3 callback or something. Yep. It might not be season 3, but and that's pretty cool. And it was nice to hear Omega refer to the Bad Batch as her brothers. Yeah, because it's like there's some good emotion you're laying down there. I appreciate that. And the thing that makes it cool is that that they feel the same way about her. So
they have one episode left, and they have a lot of plot threads to resolve.
Yeah, like who the assassin guy is.
The assassin. That Zilla Beast is Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's Zilla Beast.
Mark my words.
That thing is getting loose, and it's gonna fuck shit up.
This series ends with Omega riding a Zilla Beast. Like
I'm okay with it. I'm here for it.
Do you think any of them die? I think at least one of them does.
I think you're right.
If they really wanted to tear at people's heartstrings, it would be Wrecker.
Either him or Hunter.
I don't think they do Hunter because I think I don't know. Maybe there could be a good case for Hunter as well.
Yeah.
There could be a good case for any of them. And the people are still real attached to the idea that Tech is still alive. Mm-hmm. So I guess that'll be answered in the next one.
Or not.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how they can end this show with another 25-minute episode. Because, like, the only reason I think that is that the very first episode of season 1 was like an hour and a half. And I wonder if they're not going to try something longer for this next week. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't read anything about how long the episode that last episode I'm
is.
anticipating it'll just be 25 minutes, but they have a lot to get through.
Yeah. So we'll find out next week. Yeah. In fact,
it'll
next
be the
week,
end of an era.
Yep. Next Wednesday, watch the episode, and then at 6:00 Central, come and join us, and we'll break it down and nerd out about it. So we're gonna take a couple of minutes. Jedi Roger says, "Man, yeah, where was the stall?"
The stall turn, you mean? The cool maneuver the shuttle did to shoot down one of the fighters?
Yeah. And then he said maybe a setup for Rampart to change.
I don't think Rampart's changing. I think he is a static character, and that is just fine.
I think that's a big character flaw for him too.
He fills a very specific niche on the show.
I think that also, like, you get to the position where he was in the Empire by being an irredeemably terrible person.
Yeah,
and I don't think that you get to that.
I mean, that is how fascism works.
Yeah. It's kind of like Grand Moff Tarkin. It's not like we're going to learn that he had kind of
but what if he had a softer side?
Yeah, and
Tarkin was an asshole,
right? And he was a bad guy, like all the way to the end.
Read the book about him.
Yep.
He is an asshole.
He is, though, really cool.
Yes, he's very cool. He's very good at his job. He's also an asshole.
There's a really good comic run where Vader walks up to Tarkin and he's like, "I want you to hunt me."
Tarkin's like, "All right, boss, let's get down to business."
Thought you'd never ask. And this ends with like Vader severely damaged. Tarkin is like, his shirt's off and he's like got war paint on. He's got like a fucking spear and shit. It's pretty cool. Like, he's pretty neat.
Sounds like it.
All right, so in a few minutes we're going to be starting our new Game of Thrones recap series on this channel. Mm-hmm. So come and watch it. We're gonna make some
bring
drinks.
your own beverages.
Yeah, we're gonna bring ours. So if you are a Game of Thrones fan, or
even if you're not, if you know nothing about Game of Thrones,
this would be the perfect way to get into it. And if you're just curious about why I love it so much, you can come by and say hello to us. We'd be happy to have you. Otherwise, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the comments, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.